Coach Gearstead is, kind of above, I can't think of it.
CEO is who?
Joe Casey.
Okay. I'll give this to Tim. Tim is kind of setting up his meeting.
Okay.
Should I call Commissioner Pappas?
Yes.
Well, yeah, so they've got multiple branches.
Ernie, so I'm writing a letter to the committee in support of that cigarette thing
Oh, great.
for Monday.
Terrific. Thank you.
But I'm saying
Tracy.
to prohibit the sale.
Are you here?
Hello?
Hi, Commissioner Pappas, it's Diane Thibodeau.
Hi.
You ready for the meeting?
All set? I got my packet and I got my pen ready to roll.
All right, so let's call the meeting of the Board of Public Works to order on February 28th, 2019. Will Diane please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
I'm here.
Commissioner Ackerman,
Here.
Commissioner Pappas,
Here.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Here.
Commissioner Tees,
Present.
And we also have Alderman Jenny, the liaison from the board. Do we need any motions or anything, given that? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. For Commissioner Pappas, I do have to ask these questions.
Okay.
What is the reason that you cannot attend in person today?
I'm feeling a little under the weather today.
Are there any other people present at the place from which you are participating?
Nope, just the dog.
All right, and thank you very much. And all votes today need to be done by roll call. All right. And so Diane will be calling the roll. Is there a motion regarding the minutes of the last meeting?
So moved.
Any discussion?
I have a correction
Alderman Jettie.
on the top of page 6. It quotes me as asking the question, is the material a source on containment? And what I meant to say was, is the material a source of contamination?
Okay, we will make that correction.
Thank you.
So is there a motion to approve is the motion to approve to reflect the fact that we've suggested a correction?
Thank you. Yes.
All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Ackerman,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Here. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Tees.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of today's meeting?
So moved.
Or, excuse me, I skipped one thing. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Let's go back, of today's meeting.
Yes,
Commissioner Ackerman has made that motion.
Yes.
Any discussion?
Can I just point out what the changes are and why there's
Yes.
a goldenrod copy? Thank you.
Yes.
Under engineering, motion C, this is just a small change, but under the funding, it should say fund, bond, and trust. So and trust was added. And on motion E, that was changed. It said contingent upon approval of the bonds. It shouldn't have because the bond had already been approved. So that motion was changed as well. Motion E under engineering. And then we added an informational on spring cleanup under administration. Those are the only changes.
All right. Commissioner Tees.
Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering, given the need to call the roll, if it would be more productive for us in each section, for instance, under solid waste, for the superintendent to give his report, and we can move to approve all 4 things at once?
I think we could do that as long as no member asks for a separation in the event that he or she wishes to vote differently, like no on this one. yes.
Understood.
I think we can proceed in that fashion. But we do have a pending motion to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussion? Could Diane please call the roll?
Mayor Donches?
Yes.
Commissioner Ackerman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas?
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty?
Yes.
Commissioner Tease?
Yes.
Our first item is Park Rec, and we're going to have an informational item. So I assume the superintendent is going to present that.
Good afternoon. Nick Caggiano, Park and Rec Superintendent. In your packet, you'll find a plan and a report. Last year, we received a community development block grant as well as some escrow funds to make some improvements at the Salem Street Tot Lot and the Toll Street Park, which are across the street from each other. One of the ideas was to try and enhance the neighborhood and make a social space. The concept worked well at Fields Grove when we converted the tennis courts over to pickleball, and we brought a variety of people there, and the behavior in the park changed. It's also helped on the rail trail where there's some community gardens there. So the idea was to contact Justin at Nashua Grows, and he did a concept plan for us to take that Toll Street lot where we currently just have a path and benches and grass and make it a community garden space where Nashua Grows would manage it, and we would provide the residents around that French Hill Park an opportunity to grow vegetables. We would have a water source. I won't go over everything in the plan based on the permaculture concepts that are currently very popular. So we want to keep going with this. I'll come to you with a final plan for approval as we get close. And our goal is to work on getting everything ready for the spring of 2020. We'll have garden plots built. They'll be built by volunteers through Nashua Grows. We'll be using the funding to provide materials. We'll have to do a little work with getting them the water source, which is across the street. And I really think it's going to be a really nice way to enhance the neighborhood and kind of continue that social experiment we've been working on in these areas.
Any questions or
Questions?
comments for Mr. Caggiano?
Good job.
I've got a comment and a quick question. If I'm not interrupting, I'm sorry if I
You're
am.
not? Go ahead, proceed, Commissioner Pappas.
So I think that this is absolutely fabulous use of that land. I'm just curious because it looks like we have two types of funding, and I'm just wondering, number one, if we have a sense as to how much it's going to cost, and number two, which fund is going to be used. It looks like we have a it looks like there was an escrow account, and which escrow account is going to be used, and in addition to the to the block grant.
Mm-hmm. So there's $40,000 community development block grant, and then there was a $20,000 escrow that was put aside for the park. We plan on using the community development block grant first. I don't believe we'll use all $40,000 on this, and then the $20,000 and the remaining amount will be used to make improvements on the playground, which is across the street.
Okay, and is that escrow for that playground? I'm sorry if I.
Yes, it's called the Salem Street Tot Lot and Toll Street Park.
Okay, all right.
So
thank you.
what happened is, at the end of last year, or in the fall of 2018, as the fiscal 19 budget was being closed, or excuse me, the fiscal 18 budget was being closed, there were unexpended funds, and I, as the mayor, proposed to the Board of Aldermen, and they adopted that we escrow certain funds for specific purposes, and one of those things was for this tot lot and playground. So that's where that $20,000 comes. So those were funds that were unexpended in the budget, and were reallocated.
Okay, all right, I think it's a great idea. I think the plan looks fabulous. I just was curious about the escrow. Thank you so much.
All right, any other questions, comments for Mr. Caggiano? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to solid waste. We have 4 items, so pursuant to the procedure that we've discussed, the superintendent, please run through the items, and maybe we'll run through them one at a time, take any questions or concerns, then go to the next, and at the end, call for a motion on approval. So, can you, Mr. LaFleur, can you go forward, please?
Do they want to read the motions first, or do you just want me to go down through it? How do you want to
Why don't you,
just give a brief?
why don't you give us a report on each of them?
Okay.
Item A, B, C, and D, and then we'll worry about the motion.
Okay. Jeff LaFleur, Superintendent, Solid Waste. Motion A is the, to approve a contract with Charter Contracting. This is for the Phase 3 development of the new landfill. We did a presentation a month or 2 ago for this project. It's a big project. It's going to be about $6 million. Motion B, that would be the...
Oh, wait, let me just stop you there. So do any of the commissioners or Alderman Jettie have any thoughts or questions regarding the discussion of item A? All right, why don't you go ahead to B?
Okay, thank you. Motion B, this is a contract with Sanborn Head. This is for the CQA services for the Phase 3 landfill construction. They're going to oversee everything from start to finish for us.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
I guess, if I'm not interrupting, it's obviously a lot of money. If, for people who may not have watched last month, if we might just give a review as to how much more life we're going to get out of the landfill with the new phase coming.
Yes, could you review that,
Yep.
please?
Yes, sir. The Phase 3 landfill is going to be about a 5-acre area. We're going to gain about 10 to 11 years, depending on the amount of waste that comes in from the city. It's a much-needed expansion. We're running out of airspace now with the sections that we're working in, so we're trying to make this happen as soon as possible.
And I guess just one more question. You probably don't have the answer to it. Do you have a sense as to timeline as to when they might actually give us, when we might get that in hand, that they approved it?
From DES, Commissioner Pappas?
I think the yes, DES.
Yes. Right now, we have a permit that's been approved with some conditions on it. Our final conditions are our groundwater levels. That's before we can place any liner material down. We have to make sure that we're all in that. The measurements, the last measurement we can take is on June 1st. So I will have a report done hopefully the end of that week, whatever day June 1st falls in. We'll send it up to DES, and hopefully we get their blessing to begin the construction of the liner. That being said, I'm getting these approvals from the Board of Public Works right now. I have bond approval, bond resolution that has to go through to get the monies to do this project. So there'll be a lot of meetings this coming up month, March, that we'll be attending. There'll be a public hearing that has to be done, approvals through finance, through Board of Aldermen. So as soon as I can get all these approvals, which I think my end date will be on, my final approval should happen on March 26th, so I should be able to give notice of award to my contractor March 27th, hopefully, if I can get the mayor to sign it ASAP, and they will begin construction on it. That being said, they can start doing all the ground clearing. They can get everything done except for laying the liner. Like I said, June's final report from us will get a set approval that they can start laying liner. We should be able to start putting trash in there. I'm hoping and praying August, September, the very latest, and we'll be moving forward.
Okay, and who, is it a measurement of the groundwater, or who does that testing?
We're actually doing that in-house. We've been doing that right along. We go out there with a measurement tool in our wells, our groundwater wells that we had placed strategically in the Phase
Okay.
3 landfill. So we're doing that ourselves.
All right, great, thank you.
Any other comments or questions on item B?
Mayor?
Alderman Jettie.
So I'm just concerned about the abutters being made aware. Have they already been notified of this project? And
This, sorry to interrupt. This project has been permitted multiple years ago, so they know of the process that this landfill will be happening. Again, there'll be a public hearing for the bond resolution for the whole project, and that's when they'd be notified that this project will be happening. We're well within the 500-foot setback. We're leaving buffers that'll support, our use of this area.
yeah, I'm just concerned about their being aware that all this construction is going to take place. And I guess I thought you said that you would like to let the contract or start the contract in March, but I thought you were saying that the public hearing would be sometime after that.
No, the public hearing will happen before I can give approval to the contractor to
Oh,
start
okay, so
constructing.
there'll be a public hearing within the next.
Sometime within the next
Couple
3 or
weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah, okay. And the abutters, the residents in that area will have notice of that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments about item B? Item C?
Item C, I've discussed this at our recycling committees, which the commissioners have been part of. We feel that there's a big need for an additional staff in the scale house. I'm requesting for a part-time scale operator. That being said, on the discussion part of that motion, in the discussion part, I misworded a sentence, and at the very end, it says this person hired for this position would work a maximum of 29 hours per week. I'd actually like to switch that or change that up with your permission for an average of 30 hours per week. That being said, if my full-time scale operator is out, I may need this person to backfill, so that would add extra hours to that person. That's why I'm looking for an average of 30 hours. I just don't want to have it on record that I said a maximum of 29 and then overstep my bounds on that. So with your approval, I'd ask for that change.
Well, that's not really in the motion. The motion just
Right, just to create the position.
should create and fund and approve the salary, and we're now aware of the number of hours that the person will be working. Any questions or comments about item C?
I would just say that I think that it's really good that we're having, we're adding a half position there. I did get concerns that, especially on the weekends, there were people with Massachusetts plates coming in, and I think that we have really good employees, but they aren't superheroes. And I think on the weekends, having extra help is a really good thing. And I think that the position will well pay for itself in the amount that we will save ourselves in the landfill. Thank you.
All right, so we've covered items A, B, and C. The next one is informational. So is there a motion with respect to those three items, A, B, and C?
Move to approve the three motions under solid waste, items A, B, and C as presented.
You've heard the motion. Is there discussion?
Should we, have they been read? I'm wondering if they should be read just so that,
It's up to the commission. It's up to the board.
all right.
I mean, they're in the,
I don't mind reading them. I think, I think people watching the meeting should be able to know what we're voting on.
all right. Well, at the request of, we will then please proceed. Just move just read through them, and then we can
Okay.
act on them all at one
I
time.
move to approve a contract with Charter Contracting Company LLC of Boston, Massachusetts, in the amount of $5,525,525 for the construction of the Phase 3 landfill. Funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste Fund Bond Activity Phase 3 landfill. I further move to approve a contract with Sanborn Head and Associates, Inc. of Concord, New Hampshire, in the amount of $255,000 to provide the Solid Waste Department with a construction quality assurance services for the Phase 3 landfill. Construction funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste Fund Bond Activity Phase 3 landfill. And I further move to approve the creation of a part-time licensed scale operator position at the Solid Waste Department. Starting salary for this position will be $21.76 per hour. Funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste Fund Solid Waste Account Classification 51 Salaries and Wages.
All right, you've heard the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Diane, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches?
Yes?
Commissioner Ackerman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas?
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty?
Yes.
Commissioner Tease?
Yes?
And the motion is approved. We will now move on to item D, which is an informational item of a fee comparison for electronics recycling.
In the packet, you ended up with a comparison, like the mayor just said. It just shows the different communities, what they charge for electronics. I think this was just an informational, just to make you guys aware of what the charges are. Right now, we don't charge for electronics, up to 2 free, and then we start charging. And that charge is minimal. I think it's a $5 charge after the 2 free items. So this is, I guess it was just an informational, just to show you, so we can have another future discussion. If we want to put a vote to something, we can have it at one of our recycling committee meetings.
And what is the amount that the city is paying on an annual basis to dispose of these electronic items?
It's on a fluctuation right now. The past 3 years, it's anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 a year.
Any discussion, questions on this informational item?
I know that not everyone has been able to make it to our recycling meetings, but I'm wondering if we have a sense as to a timetable as to when we're going to act on this. And my sense is that we do not need we don't need something passed by the Board of Aldermen to change these fees. Is that correct? Or do we?
We're still looking into that, Commissioner Pappas. I'm not sure if that was an ordinance change that had to happen. I remember I changed the construction and demolition pricing, but I don't know if we did that correctly. I think that director photo will be looking into it with our legal department to make sure that we are doing this the correct way.
You've spoken to
Because I'm wondering if,
I look at the
since we have
ordinance.
something in the works with the Board of Aldermen, if there is, if that's not included in it, that we should include recycling fees in that. Just a thought.
It will be, all of the solid waste fees will be,
Okay,
the
great.
purpose is to have all the solid waste fees be transferred to the Board of Public Works, the authority of the Board of Public Works. So that's part of the legislation that legal is working on right now. The C&D definitely needs Board of Alderman approval right now. Electronics, I don't believe does, but I'd have to verify that with legal.
Okay. All right, because we might want to know that so that we get everything done in one fell swoop if we do need to have that included in the legislation.
It will be. Everything will be included.
All right, awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
anything else on that item? If not, we will move to wastewater.
Thank you.
Can the superintendent please come forward and discuss for us items A and B?
Dave Boucher, wastewater superintendent. Motion A is to approve the user warrants.
Any discussion on that item? Questions? Okay, why don't you go to item B?
Motion B is to approve a contract with Wright Pierce, the engineering firm, for professional services for design and bid phase services for our screening upgrades at our wet weather facility.
Okay, any questions or comments regarding the explanation of item B? If not, is there a motion to approve those items?
I make a motion to approve item A under wastewater, to approve the user warrants as presented, and item B, to approve the contract to Wright Pierce for professional services for the design and bidding phase services for screening upgrade at the wet weather facility, in the amount of not to exceed $178,000, funding through Department 169, wastewater fund, wastewater, activity, wet weather upgrade.
Are there any questions or comments, discussion with respect to the motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh.
Oh, excuse
roll
me,
call.
we need to do it by roll call, I'm sorry. Could the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Donches?
Yes.
Commissioner Ackerman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas?
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty?
Yes.
Commissioner Tease?
Yes.
And the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll now move to engineering. We have items A through H. Is Ms. Gill here? Is she going to do the presentation on these?
Good afternoon, Amy Gill, Senior Staff Engineer with the Engineering Department. And I'll just present item A if I could, then we'll
Yes.
switch and then we'll go down to the sewer project.
That's fine.
Okay. Item A is just a motion to approve the residential and commercial wastewater fees that we have monthly. For the month of January this year, it was 4 permits with a total of $2,000 and $2,065.
Any questions, comments on that? Okay, item B.
And we'll have Mandeep Gill come up. who's
Okay.
To present the paving work.
Good afternoon. This is Mandeep Gill with the Engineering Department. I'm a senior staff engineer. I'll be talking about next 4 motions. Motion B, it is about a construction contract for paving arterial roads for Brock's Industries. This year, in the paving program, we are taking a lot more of paving, so that's why we divided into 2 contracts, which is arterial road contracts and local roads. So motion B is about arterial roadways, which is major roads. We took this step to invite a broader range of paving contractors. This contract was advertised on January 17th, and 3 contractors attended a pre-bid meeting. And Brock's Industries, Newport Construction, and Continental Paving were the 3 bidders. And Brock's Industries appears to be the lowest qualified bidder. Under this contract, we'll be paving 11.6 miles, and the cost of this contract comes out to be $6.85 million. So, moving on to motion C.
Now, let me just pause you for a minute.
Okay.
Any discussion, questions about that proposed contract? Commissioner Ackerman.
Yes, thank you. Very great report, motion details here. But this is looking forward. Just one quick question about looking back. I know that for a great part of calendar year 2018, Newport Construction was doing quite a bit in the city of Nashua. Are they gonna be completely done, or is there any sort of legacy work that they need to completely complete?
Go ahead, Mandy.
Okay. We still have some leftover streets from 2018, and there is federal paving streets, which is Amherst, Broad Street, Somerset, and Kinsley, which has to be done. So Newport will be still working on the remainder of work this year.
Okay, thank you.
Because those contracts were let last year, but there's still some work under that last contract that needs to be done.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
If I can ask one more question?
Yes, Commissioner
So even the
Pappas.
roads that were finished from last year that we may have had issues with, that Newport's gonna come back and fix that?
Yes, we have a running punch list, and Newport will come back and address all those issues.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, any questions with respect to item B? Alderman Jettie.
So the paving program that's attached, there are items in gray and there are items in white. There are shaded items and non-shaded items. What does that mean?
The streets that are shaded on this particular table, they have some utility conflict. It is either Liberty or Pennachuck have to upgrade their infrastructure. That's why these streets have been deferred till, for instance, let's say Alt Street, Liberty is working there right now, and Pennachuck has to upgrade a section. So they, hopefully, this is what they have assured us, they'll be done with their infrastructure work by July 15th. So on July 15th, our paving contractor can go onto the street and start paving operation. So
Okay. And the unshaded items?
they are available in April.
Okay. And could I ask another question?
Yes.
The West Hollis Street area, what, so it says from Simon Street to the dead-end house, number 385. What part of West Hollis Street?
This is actually by the, I think, gas station before you get on to take the ramp. This is a small section. There are 2 or 3 businesses over there.
Okay, so the part that goes from Simon Street to the Turnpike,
Yes.
adjacent to AMR, and between AMR and Edgecombe, not Edgecombe anymore, but
Yes.
Klockner?
Yes, we have a GIS map which shows all the layout. We'll be putting it on our website also. So I'll be more than glad to email you that map. But you are
Okay.
correct, that's what it is.
Okay, great, thank you. That would be helpful, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Questions on that particular item, B?
I'm sorry, the one question, and I looked, Coliseum Ave, is that one of our, is that considered a major roadway? I've gotten concerns about that.
The question is, I can do it. So the question is, I think, is Coliseum Ave regarded as an arterial street?
I'll have to check on that one, and I can get back to the commissioner and all of you.
No, it would not be.
So the director is saying it's not considered an arterial street, but instead one of the local streets.
Okay. Because I have had concerns, people have expressed concerns about that. And it's hard to tell which is arterial, it's hard to tell how we divide things up, but it is a public road, right?
Yes, it's a city
Okay.
street, yes, definitely.
Right, that's it. Yeah, I just wanted to double check that because I know towards the end we've got a lot of private, some newer residential areas, so I just wanted to make sure that it was a public road.
Definitely.
Thank you.
All the way down to the park. Of course, the driveways into the condos and the like are private roads, but the Coliseum Ave itself is definitely a public street.
Okay, because not all of it is in horrific condition, but I'm wondering if mill and fill may not be a bad idea for that road, but I'll wait till we see our full paving list this year.
There's some bad
you.
spots right as you're coming in and you pass like the entrance, the second entrance to the liquor store right around in there where that little bank is. It's pretty bad over in there. There's a lot of holes.
Yeah, and-
That's my recollection.
Yeah, and actually, in the coming the opposite direction, near one in between a couple of the plazas, there's a spot, like the whole road isn't horrible, but there are several areas that look like, for example, Concord Street. was in bad shape, but we were able to kind of put a Band-Aid on that for for at least 8 years with the mill and fill. So I wasn't sure if that might be, I know we've probably already made up our schedule for this year, but I do think that road is in bad shape.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, the director has written that down, I see that, so, thank you very much. All right, any other comments on this item?
Oh, one question.
Commissioner Moriarty?
Thank you. I was just wondering, on West Hollow Street, as it goes over the highway, is that still city jurisdiction or is that state jurisdiction?
Over the turnpike,
Yes,
it is, it is under city jurisdiction.
it is.
Yes.
So we'll be paving that, okay. Thank you.
Motion C is about construction contract for 2019 paving program for local and collector roadways. As part of this contract, we'll be paving approximately 11.4 miles of city street. And the contract was advertised on Jan 23. And 4 contractors attended mandatory pre-bid meeting. And the 4 contractors are Sunshine Paving, Brock's Industries, Newport Construction, and Continental Paving. And Sunshine Paving, at a bid price of $4.35 million, is the qualified low bidder. So attached is a table which shows list of streets that we plan on paving this year. And some of the streets are mill and overlay, and some will be reclaimed street.
What about Pine Hill Road? Any discussion? Thoughts, questions about item C? If not, we'll go to D.
Motion D is about 2019 asphalt testing contract. In 2019, this year pavings program, we'll be paving approximately 23 miles under both arterial contract and local contract. So we'll be placing approximately 84,000 tons of hot mix asphalt and approximately 4,600 tons of high-strength hot mix asphalt. So under this program, asphalt testing contract, a testing company will assign a technician to a plant to perform the testing of the asphalt mix, and they will also observe all materials and observe hot mix batching process. In addition to overseeing the batching process, they will also be testing the cores that will be collected from the roads, newly paved roads. So this contract was advertised on January 30th, and 3 contractors attended the pre-bid meeting. The 3 contractors are SW Cole, Terracon, and John Turner Consulting. SW Cole, at a bid price of $48,000 and $600 is the qualified low bidder. And attached is a table which shows how we came up with total number of cores for both arterial and local roadways.
Questions, discussion? Commissioner Ackerman?
Yes, just a very quick question for my own education. On this motion D, under the first paragraph of discussion, what determines where we put hot mix asphalt versus high-strength hot mix asphalt?
We'll be putting high-strength mix right around major intersection or right around roundabout where a lot of heavy trucks, trailers pull in, pull out. That's where we use high-strength hot mix.
That was my guess. I thank you for the confirmation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, why don't you please go on to item E?
Motion E is about engineering services contract with Hayner Swanson. As you know, this year we'll be paving approximately 23 miles. So under 2019 paving program, we have 2 contracts. One contract will be with Brock's Industries, and the other one will be with Sunshine, but still we have 2018 carryover streets and federal paving program. So it's a humongous amount of paving that we'll be doing this year. Engineering department, we have limited resources, so that's why we are reaching out to HSI to provide us additional inspectors, perform management, coordination, construction administration, and observation.
Comments, questions? Alderman Jettie.
So is this different than what we did last year?
No, it's similar to what we did last year.
So we had an engineering company overseeing Newport this past year? Yes. Okay.
Anything else? Let's go to item F.
Thank you. Amy.
And I take it that Ms. Gill is going to do this one?
We have Ms. Gill. Amy Prouty-Gill again, Senior Staff Engineer. The reason we do it is Mandeep does a paving program, and I work with the sewer program. So I'm here to discuss item F, which is our 2019 CIPP lining project. The city, as we did last year, we're endeavoring on lining projects in order to rehabilitate our old sewers. It is much more cost-effective and a product that works well. We've had success with the lining projects. We went out to bid this year early. We got 4 bids that came in, and Kenyon Pipeline Inspection of Queensbury, New York was the low bidder. We checked their references. They have done work locally, a lot of work for Albany. They worked in Brookline, Mass., and they are the low bidder for this project. This project intends to line approximately 4.2 miles of pipe this year. And associated with that work, we do have to do some excavation work, maybe point repairs on a certain length of sewer where there's one collapse. Perhaps we have to add a manhole. So there is some excavation work also included in this contract.
Comments or questions? Could you then proceed to item G?
Yes. Item G is our sewer rehabilitation project for 2019, where we are replacing the sewers. These are sewers that have been deteriorated to the point where we cannot line them, and we must replace the pipe work. In this situation, we are doing approximately 1,300 linear feet of pipe, Ash Street, a portion of Ash Street, C Street, and Charles Street, again, a portion of. We had 3 bids come in, and Granisi and Sons of Salem, Mass. Was the low bidder. They too have, they've done a lot of work with Pennachuck, different pump stations, and the references checked out.
And what distance do you think this will replace?
1,300, approximately 1,300
Feet?
feet of sewer, linear feet of sewer. And again, that is full replacement, including catch basins along that line.
Any questions, comments? Alderman Jettie.
So this, going back to the engineering item E, I noticed all the other items have a list of bidders, but item E, there's no list of bidders. It's just to this one engineering company. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, Hayner Swanson has done, worked very closely with the city, and they, John Vancore understands the purchasing guidelines, and they have great expertise in paving. They're local, and they also have very qualified engineers and inspectors to do this work. And we have a long-standing relationship with HSI, and they've done a great job for us, and we trust them to do the work. So it's not something that we would want to subcontract out and have to train somebody.
And there's nothing legally that requires it to be let out for bid?
The difference is items F and G are construction contracts, and therefore we have to go out to bid for them. But item E is an engineering consultant service.
Much like Sanborn Head does our work at the landfill. every year, and we renew that because of their knowledge and expertise in that area.
Thank you.
Anything else on item G? Item H, pretty self-explanatory to approve the fence and wall permit applications. I don't know if you've got anything to add to that?
No.
Any comments on that? All right, is there a motion regarding items A through H?
Mr. Chairman, I'd be pleased to make a motion on item A to approve the residential and commercial wastewater service permits and fees as submitted. Also, on item B, I move to approve the construction contract for the 2019 paving program, arterial roadways to Brock's Industries of Drake, Mass, in the amount of $6,853,472.96. Funding will be through Department 160 Admin Engineering Fund, Bond and Trust, Activity Paving. I further move to approve the construction contract for the 2019 paving program, local and collector roadways to Sunshine Paving Corporation of Hudson, New Hampshire, in the amount of $4,350,642.35. Funding will be through Department 160, Admin Engineering, Fund, Bond and Trust, Activity Paving. I further move to approve under item D, the award of the 2019 asphalt testing contract to SW Cole Engineering, Inc. of Londonderry, New Hampshire, in the amount of $48,600. Funding will be through Department 160, Admin Engineering, Fund, Bond, Activity Paving. I further move to approve item E, to approve the engineering services contract with Hanner Swanson, Inc. of Nashua, New Hampshire, in the amount of $462,435 for the management and construction administration of the paving program. Department 160, Admin Engineering, Fund, Bond, Activity Paving. Under item F, I move to approve the award of the construction contract for the 2019 CIPP lining project to Kenyon Pipeline Inspection, LLC of Queensbury, New York, in the amount of $2,825,135. Funding will be through Department 169, Wastewater Fund, Bond, Activity, Sewer Rehab. Under item G, move to approve the award of the construction contract for the 2019 sewer rehabilitation project to N. Grenice and Sons, Inc. of Salem, Massachusetts, in the amount of $1,001,888. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, Bond, Activity, Sewer Rehab. And under item H, I move to approve the fence and wall permit application as presented.
You've heard the motion. Any discussion? Could Diane please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Ackerman,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease.
Yes.
Motion passes. We now will move on to administration, which is the director's reports.
We also have, before the director's report, we have our, and this is a little bit ahead of time, but we wanted to get it out a little early, regarding our 2019 spring cleanup. Pickups will take place from April 8th through April 19th, and residents can call between March 29th and April 11th to schedule a pickup, but please no later than April 11th. Acceptable items will include brush, shrubs, clean of sand and soil, picnic tables, only wood picnic tables, doors, the glass must be secure and nails removed, and wood posts without concrete. So unacceptable items would include metal goods and household hazardous waste. Household hazardous waste, of course, will be dealt with during the hazardous waste collection dates, and metal goods and other oversized items will be picked up in our oversized item program coming up.
Can I just ask a quick question? If
Commissioner
people
Pappas.
have been saving their, say, sticks for a year, they can put those out for spring cleanup, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, as long as they're no larger than 4 inches in diameter and no longer than 8 feet in length.
Right, but they still have to call in, and just a reminder for folks that this is the only time during the year that you don't have to bundle your sticks up and call them in first. And if you if you decide that you're not going to participate here, you tie them up and you call in. How many of those pickups do you get per year for those?
I believe it's 4.
Okay, so that counts. Is that does that count for a large pickup?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
No, the spring cleanup does not. Is that what you
No,
asked?
I understand,
Okay,
but
yeah.
just a reminder to residents, because a lot of times they forget and they put sticks out to be picked up with regular soft yard waste, and we don't take
Oh.
that.
Correct.
All right, so this is the only time of the year they can put sticks out, as long as they call in, but they don't have to, this is the only time they don't have to tie them up.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right, do we have a director's report?
Yep. Short one this month, actually. This is a sewer main replacement on Elm Street as part of the sewer rehabilitation program. And this is being done by DeFelice. We have a sewer repair you've probably seen on Main Street. This has been quite a project. Jack Crisp Contracting is doing this work. We actually will be closing a couple of lanes on Main Street tonight, starting at 7 p.m. There's a service connection at 33 Main that he is replacing. It's not part of the city's work, but he literally is dealing with, I believe, 2 duct banks, and he's gonna go under a water main, and it's just a really, really tough project. So I appreciate everybody's patience. It's in a tough spot, but hopefully that will be done soon.
I'm sorry, he's
Yes.
dealing with 2 duct banks?
2 duct banks that he has to go under, yes.
And what is a duct bank?
A duct bank includes things like utilities and things like that are encased in concrete.
Oh,
Duct, I think, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
These don't quack, they're just.
They don't quite, D-U-C-T.
These are silent.
I'm glad you asked the question, because I was wondering myself.
Okay. Winter maintenance at Holman Stadium, you can keep going on. We are painting all of the suites, and we are putting in, the new carpets actually went in today, and we're purchasing new furniture. There were some upgrades that were badly needed, so that'll be a big improvement this year for folks going to Silver Knights games. And we are still making ice despite the crazy ups and downs in the weather. The chillers have allowed us to keep ice at both Roby Park and North Common. We put down our first application of liquid brine, and that worked out, we think that worked out very well. We definitely noticed a difference. We monitored the streets where we had put down the brine versus where we didn't, and we definitely noticed a difference. So we're really very excited about that. And we want to remind residents to please not allow your toters to be buried in snowbanks. We've seen a lot of that this winter. We can't, our staff can't pick them up if they're stuck in snowbanks, so please dig them out so we can get to them.
Could I, when I
Sure.
see that picture, isn't there some rule about the trash has to be inside the
Yes.
tote with
Yes.
the cover on top?
Yes, another good point.
So you wouldn't
This
pick
is
this
over,
up?
this trash is overflowing, and there's a good chance it might not get picked up,
Whether it's encased in snow or not?
whether it's encased in snow or not. This resident has a couple of problems going here.
This is what not to do,
This is
right
what
here.
not to do.
This looks like my house.
But most, if you're a good recycler, you hopefully won't have an overflowing trash toter like that. This is some new fencing that we put up at the landfill just between the single-stream recycling bunkers and the electronics, just to clean it up a little bit. And I already went over spring cleanup. So, once again, residents can call between March 29th and April 11th. So please don't call yet. Please wait until March 29th. The admins at Streets will not be happy with me if you do.
Any questions for the director, comments? Alderman Jettie.
On your press release, I noticed that when you talk about the landfill permits, $5 apiece.
Yes.
But there is an age thing, right? If you were above a certain age, you don't have to pay the fee.
Yes, that's true. I believe it's 65.
Okay, so,
Yes,
Amend
so
that.
if you're 65 or over, you would qualify for a free permit, correct?
Anything else? Commissioner Ackerman?
Yes, this might fall under commissioners' comments, but just a quick question to the director. If I recall correctly, the engineering department in 2018, we had budgeted money to do a study on the bridge beyond BAE Systems on Canal Street. And I was just curious, has the report been available yet that we know of? Or maybe or we could look into it?
Yes, absolutely. I can have, there was a study done, there's some rehabilitation that's going to be done. It's not, doesn't need to be totally replaced or anything, it just needs to be repaired. But I can have Engineer Dukran is on vacation this month, but when he comes back, I'll ask him to provide an update on that.
That'd be great, thank you.
And the funding was for the engineering and repairs, both.
Oh, okay.
I think it was 180,000. But they will get back to you on
Yeah,
that.
I just wanted to follow up.
Sure,
Thank you.
good question.
Anything else for the director?
You've been busy, thank you. Good job.
All right, we're going to go to commissioners' comments. Do commissioners have any comments?
I just a quick
Commissioner
comment.
Pappas.
When I'm unable to see the pictures from the director's report, but a lot of people who do have that overflowing trash often sometimes also will have a problem with their lid being, the lid on the top of the trash can, and that those lids can be replaced for free. They just have to call, they just have to call solid waste, is that correct?
That's correct, Commissioner Pappas. We will either, if they can come to solid waste and obtain a new lid and put it on themselves, or we will come to their home and replace them. We also replace wheels as well.
All right, because it sounds like these carts are lasting much longer than initially, than the initial lifespan was guessing at. So I think that these repairs will really help save the city some money.
Agreed.
Alderman Jettie.
so could I ask if someone has so much trash that they can't, it doesn't fit in the tote, what are they to do?
Well, and we do run into that. We're seeing a lot of families that are sort of, parents are moving in with children or vice versa. And so if there is an excess of trash, Sally, of course, will want to speak with them about recycling and what might be done to reduce the amount of trash. But we will provide an additional toter if needed.
Do that was just the question. Do we still have those toters that are a little bit bigger than the regular ones? I remember at one point when the toters first came out, there were people who were with large families that they didn't give them 2 toters, but they gave them like a larger toter.
Yeah, we only have one size now.
Okay.
Yeah, there may be still some smaller 64s out there, but we only are now purchasing and distributing the larger toters, the 96 gallon.
Because and just for people who buy houses, I know that this a couple of people has happened to, that there was a smaller family that was there and they had smaller toters, and then all they did was they called solid waste and they were to clean out the small little toter, and they got the regular sized toter also.
Sure, absolutely.
Because the smaller toters are pretty small.
They are, yeah, the small ones are very small.
Yeah.
Anything else? Now, let's go to personnel. Is there a motion pertaining to unsealing the minutes?
Move to unseal the non-public minutes for the personnel meeting from the Board of Public Works, meeting of January 31st, 2019.
Discussion? Could Diane please call the roll?
Mayor Donches?
Yes.
Commissioner Ackerman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas?
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty?
Yes.
Commissioner Tease?
Yes.
All right, we will now go into is there a motion regarding a non-public session?
Yes. I move by roll call that the board go into a non-public session pursuant to RSA 91, A3, 2B, the hiring of any person as a public employee.
And that needs to be accepted, needs to be approved by roll call.
Yes.
Is there any discussion first?
Should I leave, or should I come back, or
Well, this is the last item, so,
so I can leave?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, could you please call the roll on the motion?
Mayor Donches?
Yes.
Commissioner Ackerman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas?
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty?
Yes.
Commissioner Tease?
Yes.
Okay, we will enter non-public session.